Welcome back, my fellow D-Leaguers and you big swingers and all the in-betweeners. My name is Michael. This is D-League D-Swing. And in today's session, during the batting practice, I worked on something a little controversial. I worked on hitting back up the middle. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. Right back up the middle. All right, so before we get too far into this video, I'm going to take the opportunity to say that if you like what you're seeing here, do me a big favor, hit that like button. If you really like it, hit the subscribe button. And if you have something to say about the video, then leave a comment. So this is just a quick batting session. I took one round of 24 because 2 dozen balls, just as a warm up, just to get myself warmed up, get the muscles loosened up. It's a pretty cold day here at the field. It's probably 50 degrees or so, and the wind's blowing in out of the north. You can't really tell, but the wind's blowing. You'll see the camera rock every once in a while. It's being blown around. So I'm using the Anarchy Diablo for BP. It's the batting. That's the bat I bought for batting practice. Takes a lot of abuse. Keeps on chugging along. So on the way to batting practice, I knew I didn't have a lot of time. So I decided I'd try something a little different, something I hadn't done. And that's drive the ball back up the middle. Now, the reason I'm doing that personally in this video is I'm trying to work on keeping my back elbow in instead of casting that back elbow out, and I'm trying to work on the stride and striding forward, landing on my front foot, keeping that front leg as straight as possible as I land, and then getting my back foot up off the ground, which I'm exaggerating off the tee to kind of get that muscle memory down of shifting my weight forward. Now, one of the big reasons I record myself is so that I can see flaws, and this session's no different than any other. Some of the things I think I definitely need to work on is I think I'm placing the ball too far away from myself, that it should be a little closer, and I need to be a little bit more upright in my swing instead of leaning out so far. I think so next time I do batting practice, I'll probably experiment with that a little bit and see what kind of difference that makes. If you got a feedback on that particular issue, feel free to leave it. As far as you see me kind of lean towards the plate, lean towards the ball instead of being more upright. So if you got knowledge on that, drop it for me. Give me your thoughts. Let me know if I'm doing something wrong there. Otherwise, hitting up the middle. The intro, I may have oversold it a little bit, but in slow pitch softball, hitting up the middle can lead to some tense nights on the ball field, especially in rec leagues. Even in U-Trip tournaments, when I'm watching them on YouTube, it seems like you do it once or twice, people might brush it off, but start repeatedly doing it, you're putting people's life kind of at risk. They're out there. That's dangerous. You're not very far away. I know I am a pitcher, pitch quite a bit for our team in our league, so I know that the ball comes at you quick, and the older you get, now in my mid 40s, I'm not as fast as I used to be, so that ball gets on me quickly, and I don't always get down to protect my knees and below. I'm pretty good still at protecting chest and head. Just instinctively, that's where I put the ball, but not very good necessarily at getting out of the way. So I've taken a couple off the knee, off the shin. Not a good place to be. But I decided I wanted to work on hitting up the middle, partly for fundamentals and mechanics, but also because it's a place in the ball field that I feel is underutilized, because there's just no defenders there. So you can see in the video, I put 4 cones out to kind of represent a box of no man's land, and there's usually nobody out there. So if you had a line drive like that one, that's a base hit pretty much every single night, unless they're playing a rover. When you have 4 outfielders, 4 infielders, that's a base hit right out there. And here, slow motion, we'll pause it real quick just for a second. This is why I record myself, is for bad swings like this, and it allows me to slow it down see what I do wrong. And this is partly, like I said, I think I'm leaning out a little bit here. It's real subtle, but the the backhand and the back just kind of roll over as I make contact with the ball. And I'm not finishing with palms up, palm down at contact to the ball. I'm already into my rollover before I make contact with the ball. And you can see it right there. It's subtle, but I think that's what I do. So as I was saying, before I was so rudely interrupted by my own clips, my own video, is I'm hitting back up the middle here because there's a no man's land kind of there, and your shortstop can't get to those balls. Your second baseman aren't getting to those balls. Your right and left center fielder are usually not shading the middle. They're not usually expecting you to hit the middle. So a lot of times you can get that ball up over the pitcher and lift it and land it in that box. You got a base hit, and if you can roll it to the fence and get it past those two outfielders, a lot of times that's a double, maybe a triple, depending on the outfielder. But you do risk blowing up the pitcher. You risk that hot shot right back up the middle. Now in my league, it's not a big deal because we have pitching screens, and I think from what I understand, a lot of leagues, recreational leagues at least, across cities for liability issues, have started making pitching screens a little more required than before. You see them a lot more. A few years ago, we didn't have pitching screens. Now we have pitching screens at every game. Like, it's just kind of required, and I utilize it as a pitcher. I throw it unless it's a really bad hitter that I'm not worried about, and then I'm just kind of fielding my position to field dribblers. For the vast majority of them, most of the batters coming up, even in a low-level rec league, I make my pitch and I step behind the screen. I'm not out there to get hurt. I'm out there to have fun. And because of that, I have a philosophy that I believe the middle is open if the screen is up. If the screen is up, blow up the middle if you want. It is the pitcher's responsibility to utilize that screen if they're worried about their own safety. If they're not worried about their own safety, then that's on them if you hit them. In my opinion. And if you hit it back up the middle, you hit the screen, you hit them. I don't think you have anything to apologize for. They made a conscious decision to not utilize the net for their own protection. And in my opinion, when the net's up, if they don't get behind it, they're kind of double dipping. They're using the net as a defender, because if you hit it in the net in almost all leagues, that's a foul ball and it's a strike. And on your last strike, it's an out. And they're using that as a defender, and they're also trying to defend the position. So they're trying to close the middle completely. And I'm not a big fan of that. So I decided to work on something I've never worked on, and that's just hitting the ball back up the middle. Trying not to do that right there. Trying not to lift it too much. That ball was lifted. It carried more to right center. That ball is probably going to be caught a lot of times by the right center fielder. Just trying to lift the ball, get it up over the net, get it over the pitcher, and drop it down. That ball may have been caught by a good right center fielder. There's not too many of those in low-level rec leagues. That's a lot of times that's a hit that rolls out to the fence, and you might get a double out of that. So if you don't have a screen, then exercise caution. Nobody needs to get in a fight. Nobody needs to get hurt. But I look forward to maybe hearing some of your opinions on this. Is the middle open all the time? Is it open when there's a screen up? What are your overall feelings on hitting back up the middle? Screen, no screen, high level league, low level leagues. What are the basic rules out there in your area of the world where you're playing slow pitch softball about the etiquette of blowing up the pitcher? None of these swings are perfect. I've already identified in watching this video a few times as I make this things I need to work on, and I'll probably bring more videos of that as I continue to document my progress as a hitter and learning how to hit, which seems like a very simple thing of hitting a slow pitch ball. And I hope you come along for the journey and keep tuning into these videos. Finally, I'd like to thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment. Any feedback's good feedback. I appreciate it. And until the next video, keep swinging.